Hello everyone, and welcome to Bay, where we get speakers from over 200 clubs all the way from San Francisco down to Monterey Bay. We're going to start off today's session with some impromptu speaking from our wonderful audience. The theme for today is time management. I'm sure this is a topic that we can all relate to. Don't we all wish we had an extra 4 hours every day? We all have our, careers, personal obligations, families, social lives, and even Toastmasters to juggle all the time, pulling us in so many directions. It's so easy to get overwhelmed. Personally, what I find really helps is organization. There's so much that we can do, but there's so little that we can remember in our heads. So personally, what I do, everything that I need to do, I put it in my calendar. This way, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do, when I'm supposed to do, and it really helps me out. So I'm going to ask for you guys to share your views with us. And our first question is going to be, sometimes when you're busy, the first thing to get left out of your schedules is working out and fitness. What usually falls off your priority when your time is tight and you're getting busy? Now we're going to call upon Lin Chao from Intel Insiders.
Thank you. The first thing that falls off my list of things to do when I'm behind schedule is actually preparing a nutritious meal for my kids. I have 2 kids. They're ages 5 and 8. And what happens at the end of a long day at work, I rush home and I think about what I should prepare. And that's because I haven't shopped appropriately, I haven't thought about the menu appropriately, and I haven't really figured out what my kids should be eating for that night. Now, I actually take nutrition very seriously. Nutrition, I think, is one of the fundamental keys for having a happy and healthy child. But admittedly, on those very stressful days, what I do is I haul my kids in the minivan and I take them to McDonald's. McDonald's is the bane of existence for everyone. The food is too fatty, the food is too salty, the food is too everything. But it gets it done. And they also get their little cute Happy Meal toy that they really want to get. But I have to say, at the end, I take my kids to McDonald's because I don't have time to prepare a nutritious meal for my family. Back to you, Table Topics. Table Topics Master. Thank you.
Thank you, Lin. I know exactly what you mean. I myself have too much frozen food. I need to cut back on that too. My next question for you guys, we talked about managing your calendar. Now, many people use different strategies. Some people, like myself, we use an online calendar. Other people use an email client. And yet others write down everything on Post-its. Jennifer, how do you do it? Jennifer Tsai from Intel Insiders.
Thank you, Toastmaster. I'm a calendar woman. Every time I thought of something, I will put that event on the calendar, even if it's just a year ahead. So I have calendar in my hand 24 hours, just like my watch. I watch my watch during I sleep. I watch my calendar during 24 hours. I plan a trip at least 3 months ahead. I plan to Oregon at Intel 4 weeks ahead because we have cut-off deadline 4 weeks. If you book within 4 weeks, I cannot get on a plan at all. So as long as I received my kids' school calendar, I mark all the school off day on the calendar. And appointment, I told my dentist, never call me because I will make it. It's on my calendar. Because I'm checking it every 15 minutes. So I won't miss out any appointment at all. So that's how I manage my life. I plan to be here in time because I look at all the events 24 hours ahead. So that's really helped a lot to wrap up my life in order. Unfortunately, my husband is usually out of the plan. He doesn't use calendar at all. So I don't need to tell him 2 days ahead what's going to happen today. I just need to tell him this morning what's going to happen today. And then if he cannot remember at all, I just need to call him an hour ahead to remind him to pick up kids in time. It's okay, still, everything is within control as long as I put my husband's event, my kids' event into my calendar. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Like I mentioned, I too am a calendar person. And like you, I have a roommate who I had to teach today morning how to use his calendar. I'm just shocked at how he even manages to get by his day-to-day life. My next question. Some travelers arrive at the airport the whole 2 hours before takeoff. Other people arrive just before time. They're running in, dashing through security just to get there in time. What kind of person are you? And can you give us some examples? Paula Brown from Yahoo Yapsters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I used to be a run-in at the last minute. And that was wonderful because it felt like you were sliding through the gate and there you were, right? But you can't do that anymore because there's security and you don't know how long the lines are. But my husband and I still would sort of get there maybe like 10 minutes before there was boarding, before the time when you actually start giving away seats to people who were on the waiting list. And then we started traveling with our dog. And when you have a dog, you have to be there early because you have to stand in another line, which is usually shorter than the regular line. But at some point, they take the dog downstairs to inspect his kennel to make sure that you haven't put explosives in your dog's kennel. So they actually have you take the dog out of the kennel, and then a guy with a glove goes around, and they do some kind of wani thing, and then they put the dog back in, and that's it. And so the first time this happened, it happened very quickly, and we still had like an hour or something to go. So we discovered you could have breakfast at the airport, right? So we discovered there's a whole new world when you get there early because you can have a meal, granted a very expensive meal, but you can enter the plane in a relaxed state, and we really enjoy that.
Thank you, Paula. I kind of agree with you. I'm the kind of person who likes to play it safe, you know, get there early. But I was traveling recently. There's been a couple of times when I got completely lost in a foreign country. Ended up getting to the airport just in the nick of time, dashed right through, and man, the adrenaline rush is amazing. Our last speaker for today, I'm going to ask you, a watch can be a fashion statement and a timepiece. Some people wear multiple watches, very stylish, very expensive. Other people like myself wear no watches at all. I just use my cell phone. What kind of a person are you and why? Atul Nayak, our public relations officer, and also from Yahoo Yapsters.
As you can see, no watch. At some point I realized that when you look around, there's time at you everywhere. The microwave has time, the oven has time, your cell phone has time on it. Why do I need a watch? I was at the international convention, Toastmaster International Convention in August in Vegas, and there was a speaker there who addressed this exact issue. And here's what she said. What if you were in an interview and you want to check the time? Are you going to pull out your cell phone, turn it on, look at the time, and then put it back in? Or are you just going to look at your watch? I think that drove home a point, and I've been looking for my watch. I know I have one somewhere. My wife gave me one. It ran out of batteries, and I know that I can bring it back to life, and soon I will be a watch person. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Atul, and thank you to our wonderful audience. Speaking on the cuff in front of a live audience, always scary, but you guys did wonderfully. Next, we're going to watch a roll-in segment with Sheryl Roush. She's one of the few women accredited speakers in the Toastmasters program, and she's just phenomenal to watch. We're going to interview her, so please enjoy.
I love Toastmaster audiences. We are the best. No, we really are, because all it takes is a spark to rekindle that.
I do professional coaching, whether it is for marketing, consulting, publishing, because now I've written 13 books and own a publishing company, as well as professional speaking and media interview skills for clients including the San Diego Chargers.
My icebreaker, how many O's did you have in your icebreaker? Holler it out. How many did you have? 45. 45? Did you really, Tony? Thank you for sticking with the program. Mine was only 19.
I've been referred to as the poster child of Toastmasters because my first 3 speeches, I cried. I had tears flooding down my face, not of joy, definitely of nervousness. And thanks to what I've learned in this organization and all the loving and support, I've been able to turn that around, where today I speak in front of groups of thousands of people and keynote close big conferences. It's been a world of good in helping me to find who I am and enhance my own communication and leadership skills. I would not be doing what I'm doing today, nor at the caliber, had it not been for Toastmasters International.
Sparkle Dude Booster number 2. Have only positive thoughts toward yourself and others.
Sparkletude came as a result of seeing that people needed to have more of a positive attitude in their lives. So Sparkletude really means having a sparkling attitude. And it comes from experiences in my own life of having a tragic beginning and now turning it around to help serve others, including individuals and organizations.
Remember how we used to hear garbage in, garbage out? Do you remember hearing that? They lied. It's not true. It's garbage in, garbage sticks. Be really careful what you allow into your subconscious mind. Guard it. That is your supercomputer. And besides that, any day above ground is a good day.
I'm often asked why I joined this organization. I thought it was to become a better employer for those people who worked in my business. I thought that the feedback and the evaluation process that I could learn would be very beneficial to them. I did not know it would make me not only a more effective communicator, but also a better leader, not only in my business, but in my community and in my world.
Now, I know it's powerful in our program that we give feedback. We give positive feedback. I don't even use the word criticism because Will Rogers once said that it's literally putting your thumb down on someone else. In our organization, we don't put people down, we build them up. We build people.
Toastmasters really changed my life. I had no idea what was in store. As a result of the path that I've taken and how I've really embraced this program, it's made me a better human being and really focused on service to the entire world. It's changed my life, and it'll change anyone else's life who comes into our organization, and we welcome them.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Rajiv Prabhakar. Next, we're going to have a prepared speaker, Dhwani Shah, join us. Dhwani is from Ultra Innovators, and he's working on the CC number 6 project, which is all about practicing vocal variety. His motivation for the speech, he just realized that he's turning 30, and his time is running out. And his speech is appropriately titled, How Much Time Do You Have? Dhwani Shah.
Imagine you have a friend visiting from out of town and is ready to leave and is departing from an airport 50 miles from your home. What would your reaction be? Make a grab for the keys so you could drop them off, or make a run for your wallet and give them $50 so that a cab could get them to the airport? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and dear viewers, if you are like me and millions others, your immediate reaction would be to make a run for the keys and drive them to the airport. But really, how much time do you have? Our mind naturally reacts differently to tangible resources like money, which you can see and feel losing, and intangible resources like time, which you can't really hold or see losing. The point I want to make here is we are all short on time. And Rajiv actually helped me today by talking about that in the Table Topics Master, and every single one of us resonated with that. We are indeed short on time. Do you ever wish you had more time for your work so that you could get whatever you aspire to in your career? Do you wish you had more time for your hobbies, things that really make you happy, or more time for your family? If the answer is, yes, I wish you had more time, fact is, time is one of the most limited resources that we have as individuals, and especially living in the Bay Area, where you have a lot of pressure and a lot of requirements of your time. So how do we make most of our times? The first thing is, let's use it well. A story comes to mind. A firm in LA had a project for 6 months, and they could not find the same room for every week. So they had half of their meetings in room A and the other half in room B. What the project lead noticed was that when they worked in the weeks in which they worked in room A, they got good results because it was a good firm, excellent people. However, when they worked in room B, they got exceptional results, something he'd never seen before. And that made him scratch his head. How can this happen? And how can I make all my meetings as productive? He looked around for clues, and there was only one thing that he could find that was different, which was in room B, there was some reshuffling going on with the furniture. And so instead of having the usual chairs with a backrest, they had benches without a backrest. And so everybody was forced to lean forward and be involved. And the results they got out of those meetings were phenomenal. Our life works the same way. If you are involved in whatever it is you're doing, if you give your best, the results you would get wouldn't be linear, but exponential. So try it. Next time you're doing something, when you're spending your time doing something, be it your Toastmasters meeting, think about it. You're spending your time away from your work, from your hobbies, and your family. So you owe it to not just yourself, but everyone who owns a piece of your time, that you give it your best and you get your best results. So ask yourself, are you truly involved? For a Toastmasters meeting, it's easy to judge. Do you jump at every opportunity you get to speak, or volunteer for every role, or watch every Bay to Bay episode? If not, you have a lot to catch up. But if you do you do the same when you go to the gym, when you're at work, or when you're watching TV? Yes, even when you're relaxing and wasting your time, make sure you do it well. Make sure you're energized when you get up and you had a good time, and not just sit in front of the TV when it's playing. So we know how you're going to make most of your time and get most of out of the time you spend. But where do you spend your time? We all talked about calendars and schedules, but what do you put on the calendar? What is it that should occupy that hour from your calendar? Time away from career, hobbies, and family, and what shouldn't? I learned this while talking to my niece who's 10 years old. We often spend time with her and would take her out for ice cream or dinner. And more often than not, when we ask her, hey, would you like to go for ice cream? The answer I would get is, okay. And my immediate reaction to her would be, okay isn't good enough. It should be either yes, let's go for ice cream, or let's find something else to do, uncle. And it suddenly dawned on me that we adults could use the very same lesson in our time management skills. When somebody makes a request of your time, think about if you're really excited and you want to do it, or okay, I'll do it. Never say yes for okay, because your time is much more valuable than that. I find it personally difficult to say no, and so I went from club to another meeting, giving speeches, until I got burnt out and I realized that I did not have room for the big rocks, for the things that I really cared. But now, when I sign up for a speech, I know why I'm doing it, and I'm excited to be here, like today. So next time, when you put something on your calendar, think about why you're doing it. And unless the answer is a resounding yes, do not do so. And once it is, make sure you go to that place and you give it your best, because you know why, because you really wanted to do it. Before I end my speech and go away, I had one final question for this fine audience. Who is going to give me a ride to Monterey tonight, or pay me $50 for my cab? Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you for the very inspirational speech, Dhwani. I totally agree with you. I feel like people have the wrong priorities sometimes. We're so busy, but we don't stop to think, why are we busy? I had a few questions for you.
Absolutely.
From what I hear, you've been pretty heavily involved in Toastmasters. Tell us all the things you've done.
Wow. Like I said, obviously, I've gone to a lot of clubs, given speeches. I'd also volunteered as an area and a division governor, which was a hell of an experience. It was amazing meeting a new set of people pretty much every week, spending my weekends, not having to plan my weekends. Right? It was easy. 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. meetings at Toastmasters. So, it was actually easy. You didn't have to worry about prioritization, because you'd already given my priorities to Toastmasters for that year.
Huh, interesting. And another question for you related to you being a division governor. I know you mentioned it's a lot of effort, a lot of time. But I was wondering if you ever felt as though you were, overextended, overwhelmed, swamped with work. And if so, how did you cope with that?
You mean all of the above? All right. Absolutely. It happens from time to time that you get too engrossed doing something and you suddenly strikes you, why are you doing this? And that's why I say what I just said, which is think about why you're doing it before you commit your time, before you spend the time. And if you do that, when you have this question come up, you have the answers ready. And yeah, if need be, hold back.
Great. And obviously you mentioned that, Toastmasters is a priority for you for some reasons. Tell us what some of the great things that you got out of your Toastmasters experience.
Several reasons. One of the things that I personally love the most about Toastmasters is listening to other people's experience. Yes, we all know that it helps you in public speaking, it helps you in leadership skills. But seriously, even when you're just participating as an audience member, you get to learn so much about other people's experiences and what they know. So that's personally what I love the most.
Great. Dhwani, thank you for your service and thank you for the great speech.
Thank you, Rajiv.
In Toastmasters, we don't just give speeches, we get evaluation and feedback on our speeches. And here to evaluate Dhwani's speech is Roy Terry from Pro Toasties.
Thank you. Thank you. Dhwani, thank you for this very insightful speech about time management. And we know that his objectives with this speech are not just to tell us about time management. They're to communicate effectively, as we do in all Toastmaster speeches, emphasizing your vocal variety. And so I'm going to talk about the speech overall, but I'm also going to make a few special remarks about vocal variety. And there are a lot of things that come under vocal variety, like the volume, the pace. Did you pause? Did you emphasize what you thought was important? And I think you touched on all of these things. First of all, let's appreciate the message that we got and the thoughtful stories and sort of trip through. We all got a free trip through our life in all the different areas of hobbies and work and recreation and all these things where time management is an issue. Time is the most precious commodity. We all know our time on earth is limited. In fact, I have a friend who would say, well, every day above ground is a good day. But we can make it better if we manage that time. I especially want to highlight how you brought the wisdom of children to us, because as adults, I think we tend to forget that. And how you put us in a scenario that we're all kind of familiar with is your friend needs help, or somebody else is calling on a need, maybe it's your boss, whatever it is, and sometimes we forget we have a choice. And when we remember how important time is, then we have a chance to reflect on the choice and really get it right. So this is, of course, I'm commenting on the message of your speech, and now I'd like to share a little bit of my observations about the vocal variety. You had a fairly consistent volume, which was a very pleasant and easy to listen to volume. I liked listening to you as a speaker, and I would be comfortable listening longer. Your tone was also consistent and comfortable, and it was a pleasant, conversational tone. Now, there's an opportunity within that to be more dramatic. So when you do the speech again, I encourage you to explore that. I did notice, especially though, on the topic of emotion, which is another quality of voice, you really got us a few times there. You asked us about, were we involved, with these important questions, and I felt that impact. So thank you for that. Other things that you might tune would include pacing, the variety of pace, because sometimes we want to just be slow, be a little more reflective, and let our message sink in with the audience. And similarly, we might want to just pause. We have time, let them think, let them really appreciate the fact that the last thing we said was important. So that is the beauty of the pause. Overall, I liked how you ended with the charge to us to do it well, and I think it's very worthy that we try to do time management well. It's so important. Thank you, Dhwani. Rajiv. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy, for that great evaluation. I had a few personal questions about you as well.
Sure.
Tell us about your involvement with Toastmasters over the past few years.
Well, I'm on my second round of Toastmasters. I was involved in the 90s, had a delightful experience, but a corporate club, and I only went to that meeting. Now I've come back, it's years later, I have a broader horizon, I visit more clubs, I visit contests. Toastmasters is a wonderful world.
Glad to hear that.
Glad to be in Toastmasters.
So, tell us about some of the things you got out of Toastmasters. What did you find very valuable?
Oh, the first one I did, I was like this, my icebreaker. Just to keep breathing was such a challenge. And now, though, when I stand up, what I've learned is to look into the faces of the audience and realize that they're your friend. It's wonderful. Then you can start to share great stuff.
Totally agree with you. When you're here in front of so many people, it's easy to get the adrenaline rush, and then you start speaking really quickly because you're so full of adrenaline. But it takes a lot of practice to really force yourself to slow down and enjoy the attention, enjoy being up front in front of people.
We like it. Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you, what have been your goals for Toastmasters in the next few years?
Thank you for that question. I do work on advanced manuals, and the advanced manuals are wonderful. They're like, for a speaker, it's a candy store. The advanced manuals, because they cover the whole gamut of things you can do with a group, you can facilitate, you can do dramatic, and I just want to work through those manuals and try it all.
Thank you, Roy.
Thank you.
Thank you for the great evaluation.
Pleasure to be here. You're welcome.
Now, I wanted to take a few minutes to really talk about my experience on Bay to Bay. For all the people watching from home, you may think that Bay to Bay is just like being in a normal Toastmasters meeting, but believe me, it's not. Right now, you may see me, the Toastmaster, you saw the audience, but there's a whole crew right around us that you don't see. There are all these cameramen constantly shuffling around, they're pointing their cameras at you, and there are all these bright lights that are blinding me right now. You know, it's like I'm forcing myself to look down. And I gotta say, the weirdest thing is my first experience on Bay to Bay. I was an evaluator. I came up here, I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm gonna have a good 3 minutes to give my evaluation or something. I saw the green flag go up and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll get into the constructive criticism segment of my evaluation now. 5 seconds later, someone in the back of the room, he starts jumping up and down, telling me, your time's up, you're done. And I was like, what do I even do? You know, it's like I had this whole thing prepared and all of a sudden it's gone. And there are other times when the complete opposite thing happened. I see someone standing up here, they're about to wrap up their speech, and all of a sudden I see someone signaling from the back, stretch it out, stretch it out. This is definitely not your average Toastmasters meeting, I can tell you that. In your meeting, you might be the manager, but over here, no. You look around, you see these cameras, you see these lights, you see people telling you when to speak, when not to speak, and when to sit down, and you just gotta go with that. But you know what? I've had a great time on Bay to Bay. This is my second time here. I hope to come back here again. It's always an exciting moment. Now, for all of you whom I've convinced to join on Bay to Bay, go to d4tm.org, which you're probably watching this from right now. And you'll see a link through our lovely Birgit Starmans. She is our producer for Bay to Bay. Email her, tell us what you think, tell us your feedback. And if you'd like to get involved, just email her and let us know. We have contest season coming up, and I'm sure it's going to be an exciting month in Toastmasters. Keep speaking.